Welcome back to Brain Crush Daily.
Welcome to the ultimate animal knowledge quiz. How good is your animal knowledge? From the fastest runners to the deepest divers, this quiz will put your wildlife wisdom to the test. But first makes you to smash that like and subscribe button. Ready? Let's jump into the first question.
Which animal has the longest lifespan? Greenland shark. Which one is the fastest land animal? Cheetah. Which animal can see in total darkness? Owl. Which one is the largest species of bear? Polar bear. Which animal sleeps the most hours per day? Koala. Which one is the largest species of snake? Anaconda. Which animal has the most powerful kick? Giraffe. Which one has the best sense of smell? Bloodhound. Which animal can survive without water the longest? Kangaroo rat. Which bird has the highest wingspan? Albatross. Which one is the heaviest reptile? Saltwater crocodile. Which animal has the most complex language? Dolphin. Which one has the longest tongue? Chameleon. Which one is the fastest marine animal? Sailfish. Which animal can jump the highest relative to body size? Flea. Which one is the smallest mammal by weight? Bumblebee rat. Which one is that tallest land animal? Giraffe. Which animal has the strongest tail? Crocodile. Which can fly the highest? Bar-headed goose. Which animal has the largest brain relative to body size? Human. Which one is the fastest bird in flight? Peregrine falcon. Which one produces the loudest sound? Blue whale. Which animal has the longest migration? Arctic tern. Which one can regenerate body parts? Starfish. Which one is the most venomous snake? Inland taipan. Which mammal lays eggs? Platypus. Which animal can change its gender? Clownfish. Which insect has the most painful sting? Bullet ant. Which animal sleeps with one eye open? Dolphin. Which animal has the strongest grip? Happy eagle. Which one is the slowest animal? Sloth. Which one has the biggest eyes relative to body size? Trizier. Which fish can walk on land? Wood skipper. Which mammal has the thickest fur? Sea otter. Which animal can produce electricity? Electric eel. Which bird can mimic human speech the best? African gray parrot. Which animal has the highest blood pressure? Giraffe. Which one is the only poisonous mammal? Platypus. Which animal can run on water? Bacillus lizard. Which animal has the best night vision? Owl. Which one can go the deepest underwater? Sperm whale. Which insect is the fastest flyer? Horsefly. Which animal is known for having 3 hearts? Octopus. Which animal has the shortest lifespan? Mayfly. Which one is the largest rodent? Capybara. Which animal can hold its breath the longest? Cuvier's beaked whale. Which one is the strongest insect by lifting weight? Dung beetle. Which animal has fingerprints similar to humans? Koala. Which animal is known for playing dead as a defense mechanism? Opossum. Which animal has the most teeth? Snail. Which animal has the longest pregnancy? Elephant. Which animal has the most bones in its body? Python. Which animal has the fastest metabolism? Hummingbird. Which bird lays the largest egg? Ostrich. Which animal can survive being frozen solid? Wood frog. Which animal can hear the highest frequency sounds? Bat. Which marine animal has the most teeth? Whale shark. Which animal is known for having blue blood? Horseshoe crab. Which one has the strongest immune system? Opossum. Which animal has the best memory? Elephant. Which land animal has longest tail? Giraffe. Which animal can live the longest without its head? Cockroach. Which animal produced the most milk? Blue whale. Which animal has the best eyesight? Mantis shrimp. Which animal is considered the loudest land animal? Howler monkey. Which animal has the highest jump relative to its body size? Spider. Which bird can sleep while flying? Swift. Which animal has the largest ears? African elephant. Which animal has the thickest skin? Hippopotamus. Which insect can fly backward? Hummingbird hawk moth. Which animal has the longest whiskers? Walrus. Which fish has the strongest bite force? Great white shark. Which animal has the most flexible body? Octopus. Which one is the fastest swimming mammal? Dahl's porpoise. Which animal can change the color of its skin? Cuttlefish. Which bird can dive the deepest? Emperor penguin. Which animal has the most powerful punch? Mantis shrimp. Which insect is the best jumper? Flea. Which animal is known for having no stomach? Seahorse. Which animal has the strongest sense of taste? Catfish. Which animal moves the slowest in water? Seahorse. Which one is the most social insect? Ant. Which animal has a tongue longer than its body? Chameleon. Which one has the largest nose? Elephant. Which one can survive the highest level of radiation? Tardigrade. Which animal can sleep the longest in one session? Brown bat. Which animal has the fastest punch? Pistol shrimp. Which animal is the best climber? Gecko. Which animal can inflate its body when threatened? Pufferfish. Which animal is the best at imitating sounds? Lyrebird. Which animal has the largest fangs? Gaboon viper. Which animal has the fastest tongue strike? Chameleon. Which mammal can go the longest without sleep? Dolphin. Which land animal produces the most heat? Horse. Which fish can survive out of water for the longest time? Lungfish. Which bird has the best sense of smell? Turkey vulture. Which animal has the longest antenna? Stick insect. Which animal is known for its incredible teamwork? Ant. Which animal can drink salt water without getting dehydrated? Albatross. Which fish has a built-in light source? Anglerfish.
That's it for today's video. Now you can choose your next challenge and have more fun.